Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki Jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumararpanastu. We have been seeing, we have been getting some glimpses of Bhagwan in different ways from the experiences of the devotees, from his own life, from his wandering life, and then from his teachings. Today, we shall see a few incidents, how Bhagwan functioned. In the late 80s, Shri Rajamanickam Nadar and Dr. Venkatasubramanian, who became the Vice Chancellor of the Central University, Pondicherry, they had organized a meeting in Pondicherry where the human researchers, where the human researchers, the human resources for spiritual development. This was the topic on which the seminar was held, and Dr. Venkatasubramanian was closely associated with the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and their family. He wrote a book on Indira Gandhi, and they invited the then Home Minister Y.B. Chavan to preside over the function. Then Bhagwan asked those people to go invite Justice Arunachalam to speak on the occasion, because the focus was on Yogi Ramsuratkumar, how he was helping the spiritual development. So, of course, in the beginning, Justice, he did not know much about Bhagwan at that time. So he even refused, saying that, what could I speak about such a great one? I do not know enough to speak on him. But then those people promised enough material, and then he consented. He did not know what Bhagwan had in store for him. Whenever these people went to Bhagwan before the meeting, the organizers, and they would say, this Mr. Chavan had agreed to come. Bhagwan would say immediately, oh, he won't be able to come. He may not be coming. And then they would say, no, Swami, we verified with him. He's so eager to come. He promised, even 2 days before the meeting, he promised to come. He so much wanted to come and deliver his speech. Bhagwan was saying, he may not be coming. To them it was strange, but then they knew better than questioning the wisdom of Bhagwan. And then, just that previous day, Y.B. Chauhan sent word that he was some emergency. He was called by the Prime Minister for some discussion and that he won't be able to attend the function. He even sent his address. Then Bhagwan said, invite Justice Arunachalam to preside over the function. So even then Bhagwan had chosen to preside over, but this time it was a function. And then Dr. Venkatasubramanian knew Justice Anand, who was the Chief Justice of Madras High Court at that time. Again, Dr. Justice Anand also refused, saying that he did not know anything about Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Not enough to speak on him. What did he know? How could he speak? This is what he said. Anyway, they left an invitation there with him, the organizers, Shri Rajamanickam Nadar and Dr. Venkatasubramanian, the Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University. The meeting was to be held in Pondicherry. And then on the day of the meeting, Dr. Anand had already come from Delhi. He had come to Chennai the previous night itself. Though he had decided not to go for the meeting because he did not know enough about Yogi Ramsuratkumar, the day of the meeting, right from morning, there was a prompting from inside. He felt an urge to go and attend the meeting. And it became stronger and stronger by the minute. Then he decided, okay, I shall obey this prompting. He took the invitation with him. When he was getting ready to go to Pondicherry, the driver of the car, he did not come. So he was thinking what to do. I want to go and the driver has not come, has not turned up. And suddenly another driver had come. And immediately Dr. Justice Anand started from there. When he came to the meeting, Justice Arunachalam's speech was going on. In the middle of the speech, Dr. Justice Anand arrived at the meeting. And then he sent a note that he wanted to speak also. Just imagine, he refused flat. He wouldn't be able to come for the meeting, he wouldn't talk. And then he landed in Chennai the previous day night itself. And the next day morning, from morning, he had this prompting, which was getting stronger, to go to Pondicherry meeting. And then just when he was thinking the driver was not there, how could he go? Another driver appeared promptly. And he felt that he was being taken over by a power. And he knew it was the power of Yogi Ramsuratkumar that brought him all the way from Chennai to Pondicherry to the venue of the meeting. to the very spot. So he even spoke. When he spoke, he said, Dr. Justice Anand said, that he felt that Yogi Ramsuratkumar was very divine and how he took over. Though he decided not to come, how Yogi Ramsuratkumar took over, changed his decision, helped him with a new driver, and that he realized that Yogi Ramsuratkumar was a sage. This is what he declared. And later, when he came for Darshan of Bhagwan in the Ashram, I believe the very first impact, as soon as he saw, because that was the first time he saw Bhagwan, and what he saw was shocking. He was completely overwhelmed because he saw a huge pillar of fire. As soon as he entered Pradhan Mandir, he saw only a column of fire which slowly, gradually arranged itself, and finally the form of Yogi Ramsuratkumar was seated there. He knew instantly who Yogi Ramsuratkumar was. This is what he said. This is what he wrote. And then Bhagwan also said to him that he would become the Chief Justice of India. True to that, later he became Chief Justice of India. And after that also he came for his darshan. Now this reminds me of another incident. It was 2000. Usually Bhagwan would go out and they would put a dais there and Bhagwan would be seated right in front of the mountain and all the devotees who were coming would be seated in front of him. Every year it happened, but in 2000 he would not budge from his chair. He was seated in the chair next to Bhagwan's Murti in Pradhan Mandir. And all those people were waiting. Many foreigners had also come from Europe and America. And they were all peeping inside. Everybody was afraid to enter Pradhan Mandir. And they were all peeping in from outside. So it was 5:55 already, and Bhagwan was still seated in the chair, and there was no sign of his getting up and going out. So I went near and asked Bhagwan. It was 5:55 already. In another 5 minutes, the lamp would be lighted at the peak of the mountain. Bhagwan, should we not go outside? Bhagwan did not answer anything. He just kept doing his father's work. And then he said, okay, you go and sit there in your place. And then it was 5:57, 5:58. I kept announcing to him. And then it was 5:59. Bhagwan was still seated there, and it was 6 o'clock, and the lamp was lighted there on the peak of the mountain, and here everybody was shouting, Annamali Karohara. It was reaching the skies. So when these shouts of Jayakar was heard, I said, Bhagwan, the lamp is lit there at the peak and people have started to go because people are moving. Immediately they would start going around the mountain. So I said, people have started to go round. They're all leaving. And then Bhagwan said, oh, they have started to go for pradakshina. All right, both of you, you can go round this beggar 3 times. And then we went around him 3 times and then prostrated. And Bhagwan's face was glowing. There was such effulgence on his face. And we knew instantly that we were seeing that flame on top of the mountain right near us. We were almost touching the flame, a flame that would not burn us. It would only burn our ignorance. So that day, Bhagwan showed beyond doubt that he was Lord Shiva. It is he who appeared as a column of fire. It is enough if we go round Bhagwan 3 times. Now till this day, Bhagwan, there is this ashram, Girivaram, the pradakshina path in the ashram. And Bhagwan said, those who go round the ashram even once, this pradakshina path, it would be equal to 5 times going round the big mountain. It's his compassion. They would simplify tapas for us. They had themselves done very hard tapas and earned all that Shakti, becoming one with the divine. And for us, we get it so easily from them. These Mahatmas come down only to simplify tapas for us. We just make a prostration, we chant his name, and we get so much. Whereas they had to really labor hard to acquire all that Shakti, all that power. Now we shall shift ourselves to another scene. Professor Karunakaran was given this grace by Bhagwan to bring his monthly offering of wheat flour. He would bring a bag of wheat flour, fresh one, submit it at the feet of Bhagwan, and then Bhagwan would give back the leftover of the wheat flour as prasad to him. Now once, when he brought this offering, at the time Bhagwan was giving darshan right outside Pradhan Mandir, he would be seated in a chair where there is a small temple for Bhagwan now. So Professor Karunakaran was called. They had put a chair next to Bhagwan. So Bhagwan said, sit here. And Professor Karunakaran, he put the bag of offering on the chair and was busy prostrating. Immediately, Bhagwan said very sternly, his face became grim, and he said sternly, I asked you to sit, not that, not that. I asked you only to sit down, sit on this chair. And naturally, the first time Professor Karunakaran was confronted with the sternness of Bhagwan, who had always been love and compassion. Now naturally he trembled out of fear, and immediately he took the bag of white flour and sat promptly in the chair. Professor Karunakaran says, the first time I learnt a lesson that when Bhagwan spoke, when Bhagwan said something, one had to follow it literally. Nothing else mattered. Just following what Bhagwan said alone would matter. Anything else would invite only Bhagwan's frowning. It's very true, we learn our lessons only small things. We make mistakes, but every mistake leads us to greater wisdom. We learn something from that. Every failure, that's why Bhagwan used to say, there is only progress in life for everybody. Everything that happens in life is only progress. We learn by our mistakes. They lead us to greater wisdom. And this is what he learned. He understood, because Bhagwan often said to me, Bhakti, devotion alone is not enough. It should be tempered with fear. Fear, not fear exactly, it is called awe, A-W-E. A fear with respect. So this is what he learnt that day. Had he had this Bhaya Bhakti, he would have done exactly what Bhagwan said. He just took it for granted that he could do his process, because it was a habit. It was also our veneration. It was also a habit. So despite what Bhagwan said, he was bent upon prostrating. And then he says the next time, he had brought two friends, a couple who had some problem. So initially there was a discussion of the problem, and Bhagwan was talking to them. After that was over, Professor Karunakaran, he had brought this monthly offering. Immediately he said, Bhagwan, I have brought this offering for you. Now this time again Bhagwan shouted at him, who asked you to bring it? Take it away. Again, he was completely taken aback. He was very upset. He knew he had made a mistake, that he should have informed Bhagwan gently and waited for him to make some gesture to hand it over. Instead, he just took it for granted. Just because he's been asked to give the monthly offering, he took it for granted that he could intervene and give it. One should wait until Bhagwan asked for it. He says, this is what I learned. Those simple things and the mistakes that we make and suffer from, they lead us to greater wisdom. And then the third time was when Bhagwan was in the hospital, in Ramana clinic. So he took his monthly offering to Ramana clinic. It was a great fortune. He considered it as a great fortune that Bhagwan should accept the monthly offering he was making. So he took it all the way to the hospital, and there one of the attendants of Bhagwan said, No, Bhagwan cannot take all that now. This can wait until he returns. So he brought it back, and when Bhagwan returned from Chennai to Tiruvannamalai, he took it to him. When he offered it the right way, the right manner to Bhagwan, Bhagwan asked him, what did he do with that in his absence? Did he bring it? Bhagwan knew, of course, but then he would ask such questions to test the person So he said, what did you do in the absence of this beggar here? Then Professor Karunakaran said, I took it to the hospital. One of the attendants said that it could wait till you returned. Bhagwan became so happy. He said, okay, you continued this even in the absence of this beggar. He was happy and he blessed Professor Karunakaran nicely. So Professor Karunakaran, he goes on to say that even the little things, when we make mistakes, we learn something more. And one has to be very, very careful with one's Sadguru. And there should be awe. Because Bhagwan, out of compassion, sometimes would move freely with the devotees. But you should never take him for granted. He understood this very strongly. Bhagwan, in his lifetime, he had said many things to many people. He had given many teachings. And Bhagwan used to say, if people could take up one teaching and practice it all through life, and then they would get liberation. So, even people who did not move with Bhagwan, who did not have any directive straight from him, the teachings are there, available. And if you follow them strictly and practice, liberation is assured for all. Now let us shift to another scene, the last of the series now. Many people used to come from Sivakasi to have darshan of Bhagwan. And they all had cars, but Bhagwan told them to come only by bus. Once, Shri Gnanagiri Ganesan, they all spoke here in the public. They shared their experiences so that it would be a lesson for other people, an inspiration. So Shri Gnanagiri Ganesan, he came, he took a bus and came for darshan of Bhagwan. Many people from Sivakasi, Shri Ganesan has narrated this. He says many of these people who came from Sivakasi would not bring their wives with them. They may come alone, or they might come alone, or they might bring some friends with them. This was happening, and that time Shri Gnanagiri Ganesan also had come alone, leaving his wife at home. So as soon as he landed for darshan of Bhagwan, the first thing Bhagwan asked him was, where is your wife? You didn't bring her? So when Shri Gnanagiri Ganesan shook his head, Bhagwan said, oh, you have come alone. And then he took a withered garland and put it on his neck and said, you have to go back to Sivakasi, bring your wife here. You have to come together. And then, strangely, he prescribed a mantra for him. He said, his wife's name, Bhanumati Sameda Gnanagiri Ganesan, meaning Gnanagiri Ganesan with Bhanumati, accompanied by Bhanumati. This mantra you have to keep chanting until you reach Sivakasi. Just see how Bhagwan played this Leela in order to impress upon Shri Gnanagiri Ganesan not only Shri Ganesan of Sivakasi, upon everybody, that one should respect one's wives, and they should also be brought on important occasions. They should be with the husbands. The husband should give respect their wishes. So once again, this gives us a glimpse of what Bhagwan thought about couples. And for Gnanagiri Ganesan, he had to wear the withered garland until he reached home. What a lesson, an unforgettable lesson, not only for him, for all of us. Bhagwan always said that when they came to have darshan of Bhagwan, they must come in proper company. And that he was asked to come by bus. Once, when Bhagwan was here, so many people had come outside and they were all waiting for Bhagwan's darshan, and it was hot sun. They were waiting, and Bhagwan was busy with his father's work. He was not getting up and going out to give darshan to them. So after some time, I approached him and said, Bhagwan, all those devotees are outside and it's very hot. They are all waiting in the sun for your darshan, Bhagwan. Bhagwan looked at me and said, so what? Let them do some tapas. And that's when I understood that it was hard earned divine energy, the divine blessings they are equipped with. And without any tapas, we just go prostrate, we take it for granted. We go straight to Bhagwan, we prostrate, and if he is busy with something, we are impatient, we are waiting and all the time wondering why he wouldn't come out, why is he making me wait? I voiced out what those people were feeling. But this is what Bhagwan said. So it would do some good to us if he could do some tapas before we go for darshan. Darshan of deities in the temple, darshan of great Mahatmas. We should not mind the difficulties that we go through. So these are all some glimpses, and that Bhagwan, who taught all the time through some leela, there was never any straight instruction from Bhagwan. He would arrange a certain situation and he would give his teachings through his leelas. Now that Bhagwan is here with us, and we shall submit today's prayers at his feet. Bhagwan.